Hi guys and girls, welcome, especially to the girls because I've noticed some women are watching my channel as well, so big shout out to them for joining us. Now, with the introduction of the Impact M3, the platform got some new features introduced to us, like the dual regulator system, that awesome quick tune setting, and even a bigger plenum than what we're used to. This one calls the Plenum 720, I believe. But there are also a few other accessories that you can add if you really would like to. For instance, we have got the carbon fiber liner sleeve, the harmonic barrel tuner. I made some separate videos on those as well. But there are also some small ones that you maybe have seen on Instagram pictures or on some other YouTube channels, but it's this guy right here. If you pay attention to the side of your Impact M3, you see some extra holes that the Impact Mark II didn't have. And that is for this little guy here, and it calls the Angled Manometer Bracket. What does it allow you to do? It allows you to move your second regulator gauge from the back here to the side, or in my case, I added another gauge here to the side, especially for those bench race shooters to keep an extra eye on the regulator pressure while shooting. When I received my kit, I realized there were no instruction manual that came with it, so I decided to make this video to help some of you out. But before we go ahead and see how it is installed, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and so let's get started. So I have my beautiful Impact M3 in front of me, and in the previous videos you could have seen I already have installed some upgrades to it, and the next thing I will do is install the angled manometer mount. But before we go ahead installing it, let's have a quick look at the kit itself. So the kit itself comes in a bag just like this. So you open it up. In the bag you get yourself a little paper how to measure some O-rings. You get some O-rings that we'll have to install into the block. You get yourself a blind plug if you want to reuse the back regulator gauge to be installed in the angled manometer adapter. You have the adapter itself that can sit right here. And you get yourself also 2 more screws to install the block to the action block. First, very important, always make sure your rifle is safe. It's not cocked, there are no pellets in the breech, and you put it on safe. Then we can unscrew the bottle. Not super handy with that big rail on top, just like this. Put your bottle to the side, and then to degas the air that's still in the plenum, I like to do it by gently nudging the regulator. Put it on fire so you can put your trigger a little bit to the side, put your Allen key inside, and let all the air bleed out. Then once we have confirmed that the impact is out of air and it's safe to work on, we're going to focus ourselves to these 3 screws you see here. This one is your bleed screw, or your atmospheric pressure, I believe, from your regulator. The 2 top and bottom one are the screws where you can fix that angled manometer block, and the one in the center is where the air of the regulator will pass through in order for the gauge to read your regulator pressure. So, first thing we do, take out the 3 screws you see here. First the middle one. It's a little one just like this. Keep them well to the side. If you ever want to go back, you really need them to seal that hole again. And then these are 2mm, I believe. That is one. And the second one. Also put them safely to the side with that little middle one. With that done, we'll move the impact a little bit to the side, and we're going to focus ourselves to the block and the O-rings you get with it. To start off, you will need 2 O-rings. That is the one you get 2 from. I believe that one is a spare. And you need that really little tiny one you see here. Make sure you don't lose it. And what I do is I use a little bit of lube on my fingers to lubricate those O-rings just a little bit, so to make sure they also seal properly. Then you turn your block around. That little hole is for that tiny little O-ring. Just push it in like so. And then you have this elongated hole. That hole corresponds with the hole that will transfer the air to the gauge in order to read your regulator pressure. You just fit it in like so. There is no other way it can fit in. Just like this. Make it fit to the elongated hole, even if it's a round O-ring. Turn your block around. The notch has to go here to the downside, just like this. Take the 2 corresponding screws that came with it, drop them in the hole. Make sure you're aligning the holes. Start the threads so you make sure you don't cross thread them. Take the corresponding Allen key, tighten them up equally, so don't start cranking on one and then the other one. Nicely tighten them like so. Then once that is done, you can take the X O-ring out of the bag. Take a little bit of lube, not too much, just lube it up just a bit and push it into the hole. Make sure it sits all the way nicely down. Take a blunt object or something. Make sure it sits flush down at the bottom. Then, instead of reusing my regulator gauge at the back and pushing this blind plug in here, I opted to take an extra gauge, this time from Yuma Air. It's a little bit smaller than the big Wicca gauges, to put on here. So I have a nice Yuma Air gauge. Simply screw it in. Don't go crank it down. Finger tight should be good enough. Let's see if I can align it just like this. And once we have done that, we can reinstall our bottle. Take the bottle. Make sure the threads are going in straight. And fill up the complete system. And just like that, we have installed it. As you can see, the gauge reads 150 bar. The gauge at the back also reads 150 bar, so those are equal. And now I have a nice extra gauge to point my eye on when shooting from the bench. So guys, as you can see, installing the angled manometer bracket isn't that difficult at all. 2 screws, a few O-rings and a few minutes of your time, and you can enjoy, or at least I will enjoy, the extra gauge here on the side to keep an eye on my regulated pressure while I'm shooting. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it, you found it useful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I catch you in the next one. Bye.